Ice for the next two groups, groups 5 and group 6, the final two groups to go in this compulsory dance, the second compulsory dance in the ice dancing. Nicky Slater, alongside me, of course, former British champion, former junior world champion, was ranked with Karen Barber in the world's top 5. Was it 15 years ago you stopped?
Oh, I know, isn't that terrible?
Unbelievable.
15 years ago. Yeah, you can tell by the, the lines under the eyes. No, we can't be that old, can we, really? Well, I can't be that old. Really.
Well, you're older than me, but...
I stopped when I was 10.
We were hoping to show you some footage, actually, of you competing earlier, but Eurosport wasn't born when you were competing, so
yeah, right.
We haven't got any footage, unfortunately. French pair very much alive, of course, the European champions, and they've managed to bypass the Italians, with whom Nicky Slater's mother does have a coaching connection. But what about this display?
I really liked the way they have this now. Supreme ability to focus. The look really matters in ice dancing, and she holds it. She's very strong. And the thing about them is you really have to have the whole package in ice dancing. We had some questions about the judging, in particularly from Jan Farrell, who was saying, look, is it all fixed, basically? She's heard that there's been a big kerfuffle about the ice dance judging, and maybe it wouldn't even be in the Olympics. And last year, the last few years for ice dancing have been very tough judging-wise. There's been a lot of controversy. And what happens is what I'd call holistic judging. From the first moment the couple get to the stadium, get to the venue, they're marked. They're marked in terms of the practices and everything they do in the whole competition. Betty Calloway used to say to Chris and Jane, when you go into the building, you take it. And you have to act the champion for the whole time. So that's what people do, and the judges get a good feel of what people have done before, how good they're skating, and unless somebody really messes up, you have a very good idea, give or take a couple of places, where people are going to end up. Is that fixed? Well, I think it's actually probably overall a fairer system than just letting the judges go and have 25 people in front of them that they've never seen before, which would be a nightmare to judge.
This pair won the European title. There wasn't a Russian couple in the top 3 for the first time since 1968.
And of course you got Marina's Russian roots. She was asked at Europeans whether she felt pride in winning for France, the first French gold medal in dancing at Europeans. And I think it's muted pride a little when the flag goes up, but she's a very determined lady and she's going for #1, and she's getting there. It doesn't look like there's going to be a flaw here. Very well skated.
You talk about the importance too of the expressions on their faces, the involvement.
Well, for every dance, it's a different way of portraying it. So for a tango, there is a different feel when you dance a tango to if you dance a waltz. And it's like if you can imagine yourself in a dance floor and the tango music is playing, it's a different feel. And the idea is that the skaters try and get that relationship and try and develop that, and if they can capture that feel, that's what the judges are wanting to see. Sometimes when your culture doesn't have a tango in it, like a Russian culture might not have had a tango, so they'll look at videos or they'll go to see tango dancing, whereas some of the couples have actually been to Argentina to practice tango in Argentina, so that they can then put some of the moves into their routines.
We're talking Italian now because, of course, the Italians were overtaken by the French pair there, but in itself it was an excellent performance by them as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, they wouldn't be expecting to be above the French at this time in the competition. They'll maybe be pushing to catch 1 or 2 judges for the OSP.
This is Fusar-Poli and Margaglio, who did lead for a brief while until the French European champions came out onto the ice.
So for Barbara and Maurizio, just a question of, again, looking very assured, but for them, they've moved up the rankings a lot through some people, because some people aren't here. Of course, no threat from the Canadians, Bourne and Kratz. And I heard behind the scenes they were actually taking soundings from various people as to whether they should come to this championship, whether they would be getting up there in the medals, because they had made such an impression but not really broken through last year as they'd expected. So they decided not to come, and of course Oleg and Angelika, Ovsyannikov and Krylova, they're not here. She has a very bad injury, and it's doubtful, it was a neck injury, and from what I've heard, it is doubtful that she will be skating again in international competition. So when the champions go, and one of the big lot of challengers and the Canadians, big addition of course, Americans and Canadians coming to the World Championships, are out of the scene, it's all to be played for. If the Italians can get a silver medal, they will be over the moon. Every move choreographed, sharpness. The whole thing is a presentation from the first second, even stepping onto the ice, to the bows, to the crowd. So these slow-mos, they're great because they show that the alignment of the legs. You need to have a straight free leg there, getting good height on that, and very close. Look how close the bodies are. It's harder to skate closer together than be far apart. And if you actually skate well together, it's not that difficult. It's like both people are helping the movement along. If the edges aren't quite aligned, then it slows you down and it's more effort. If you get it right, it's less effort to skate fast.
Thanks, Nicky. We've had 20 pairs have gone so far on the ice dancing. We've got another dozen to go, and then we'll see some action from what happened this morning. Leaders at the moment, the European champions, Anissina and Peizerat. Much more action, though, in a couple of minutes.